Hello at Santa Heckler. This is Alan Berger with Bowling Over 50. Uh, I'm looking at your comment and I wanted to take a little time to try to figure out how to explain the question that you asked, um, because the answer to your question can be quite lengthy. So, for everybody else, the question was what his question was wondering if you could share some knowledge on reading the lane front to back. I'm definitely interested in why a ball rolls out or loses energy, making it not travel into the pins correctly. Thanks. Well, um, this is a deep subject and a tough question because there's a lot of different things that go into play here. And so we'll just talk about just the question as you asked it is why the ball rolls out. So when a ball is going down the lane in oil, it is not hooking. It is not moving left to right, or if you're right-handed, right to left. It is in the oil. Some people call it hydroplaning, but you can't really call it that because it's not in water. It's oil. It's a lane conditioner that makes the ball spin. But as the ball finds friction or an area of the lane that doesn't have oil, that ball begins to slow down. And that is important because the ball needs to slow down to hook. So the friction actually causes the ball to slow down. So you ask the question why the ball rolls out or loses energy. The longer the ball stays in friction, and it's trying to spin on friction, it slows down and begins to hook in the direction that you're wanting it to hook. And I had a video that we show that a ball can hook on its own, but you're also spinning the ball, which is also creating the potential for hook when the ball is on dry. Any friction is going to make anything slow down. That's why we have ball bearings and mechanical things to try to reduce friction. Oil reduces friction in your engine. Grease reduces friction in joints in your car. The whole object with oil and lubricants is to reduce the amount of friction because friction slows things down and creates heat. So when your ball is finding dry, it is encountering friction, which slows it down. And if your ball slows down too early, and it's going to be losing energy as it's in the dry area of the lane. So as it gets into the dry, it starts to lose energy, and eventually it loses so much energy that the ball will hit like a marshmallow, that it just doesn't have any power. If you notice in a lot of houses, they'll have a speed up there, and you're going to get anywhere from 12 to 15, 16 miles an hour. That speed is taken down near the pins, past where a typical house shot is dry, and the ball begins to slow down. So you may be throwing it 18, 17, 18 off your hand in the oil, but when it encounters friction, that ball may slow down to 13 or 14 miles an hour. That's due to the friction on the lane. So why does a ball roll out too early? Well, it stays in the friction too long. If it stays in the friction too long, the ball will right itself and become balanced. We talk a lot about the balance position of a bowling ball. It hooks and then becomes balanced and starts to roll towards the pins and hopefully towards the 1-3 pocket. If that ball starts to roll, it hooks too fast and rolls too early, then the ball will hit like a marshmallow and it just doesn't have any power. If the ball goes too long down the lane and hooks but never really gets into a roll, it is still on the lane and there's not enough friction for that thing to stay on line, and the ball will bounce to the right. So why does a ball roll out? Well, it rolls out because of friction. So your next part of that is reading the lane front to back. And that is where this question gets really difficult. Um, the way I look at it is I pick the spot down the lane where I want to see the ball to hook. And then I'm watching the last few feet of the ball and making sure that that ball has stopped hooking and is rolling. And I don't know how far that is because it really depends on the lane dressing and how long the pattern is. But a typical house pattern, I'm wanting to see that ball roll within 2 or 3 feet of the pins and not hooking anymore. So it becomes important of where that ball starts to hook. So when I'm lining myself up, I think a video just came out about targeting. I look down lane at where I kind of envision that ball hooking, usually around 43, 44 to 45 feet down the lane. And that's where I'm looking, saying that that is where my ball should hook. So as I throw the ball off my hand, I'm watching that ball cross the arrows, go down to that spot, and I see if the ball actually begins to move left. If it goes past that point, then I have to make some adjustments because now the ball is going to hook too late. It may not finish its hook and begin to roll before it hits the pins, and that's not optimal. And we come in behind the head pin, we leave wrap tins and 7-10 splits and all the mess that you don't want. So if the ball does hook where I wanted it to hook and where I was looking and where I was planning on the ball to hook, but it rolls out too early before it hits the pins, maybe 4, 5, 6 feet before it hits the pins, and the ball doesn't drive through the pins, then I know the ball is hooking too early, and then I'm going to have to change my eyes and my down lane and probably my break point at that point. So yeah, I need to do more videos on reading a lane front to back because it's not one thing. It's not one thing I'm looking for. I'm watching the ball. Once it leaves my hand, I'm trying to watch the ball throughout the whole travel down the lane. I'm watching it skid and making sure that we don't have a wiggle there and we're crossing somebody's area that's actually making the ball start to hook in the mid lane. And then I'm watching the ball get to where I wanted it to go down lane, the break point area, and making sure that that ball is hooking in that spot. Is it hooking before that? Is it hooking after that? That gives me information. And then I'm looking for when the ball starts to roll. I want to make sure that it is rolling before it goes through the pocket in the 1-3 because I'm right-handed. Is it rolling at all? I mean, even if the ball rolls maybe a foot or two before it actually hits the pins, that is much better than the ball rolling, say, 6 to 8 feet before the pins, where the friction in that area is going to cause the ball to lose energy. So to answer your question, front to back, there's some few little tidbits there of reading the front to back, but that becomes experience. And we will have a video. I haven't shot it yet, but we are going to do a video in looking at your ball roll and the importance of that. But I will give you the little nugget right now. Once your ball leaves your hands, you should never take your eye off the ball. You should watch it as it skids. You should watch it as it hooks. You should watch it as it rolls. And then you need to watch the ball as it exits the pin deck. Once it's gotten into a roll, where does that ball hit in conjunction with the 8 and the 9 pin? If it goes right between them, then your skid, hook, and roll are nearly perfect. If it only hits the 9 pin, there's a couple of reasons for that. It either lost energy, too much energy, and rolled out too early, and the pins themselves are causing that ball to deflect, or it just came in at too shallow of an angle and not your 5 to 7 degrees. It came in at 3 or 4 degrees. Or does it just hit the 8 pin and miss the 9 pin altogether? Sometimes you'll leave a 9 pin, and if you do that, then that can mean a few things. That can mean the ball is hooking too late. it's driving through the pins but going past the 9-pin, it could mean that you threw the ball perfect, it hooked in the right spot, it rolled out in the right spot. It's just too steep an angle and too much power to miss the 9-pin altogether. Or did it just never start to roll at all and it's only hooking all the way through the pins? So this is a long answer to a very short question. For you right now, I don't know where you are in your bowling history and how much experience you have. But for me, I would tell you to do this. Watch your ball the whole way. Does it skid all the way down to your break point? Does it hook at your break point? Does it begin to roll before it actually hits the 1-3 pocket? And I don't care if it's 1 foot or 2 feet, as long as it's rolling towards the pins before it gets to the pins, it's a much better scenario than it rolling 8 feet. And I see that a lot, especially with seniors. That ball begins to roll much too early. You can still have good games that way. Matter of fact, I have bowled or watched somebody bowl where we do this thing, we call it a hook set, where it hooks, begins to roll really early, but it is on a decent enough angle that we're going to leave some 10 pins, some flat 10s, but it was enough to get it in the pocket every time, which sometimes is difficult to do. But the most important answer to your question, which is I'm definitely interested in why a ball rolls out or loses energy, making it not travel through the pins correctly, is friction and how much friction your ball is seeing. The more friction and the longer that ball is in the friction, the slower that ball is going to become and less energy that it's going to be able to keep until it hits the pins. I hope this answers part of your question. We need to work on this. This is something we'll do together over the next months and years, trying to produce videos that kind of explain what we tried to explain here. Too much information for me to type, so I hope this helps just a little bit, and I will continue to try to produce videos that might clarify this even more. And Santa Heckler, do appreciate your comment and your question, and I hope this helps. I want you to get out there and have fun and good bowling.